All right, this is a day of non-stop breaking updates and no other channel but Republic to bring those stories for you. This again is a significant and a big impact of a story and a coverage of our entire team here. Look at this, the IMA scam now has been transferred to the CBI. The decision has reportedly been taken by the Chief Minister after a meeting with top police officials is what we can tell you. The Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa has decided to hand over the multi-crore financial scam involving a monetary advisory, that is the IMA group, now to the CBI. The decision, remember, is coming a day after the Chief Minister announced that there will also be a probe, Suesha, into the phone tapping scandal. Again, something that Republic has tracked very, very closely. But the CBI will be probing this IMA scam. Now, Pooja, a very, very big impact of the Republic reportage.
Absolutely. In fact, even as there was a war between, the SIT here and ED to get custody and interrogate the main accused in this particular scam, now it does look like the state government has taken the decision to finally hand it over to CBI. This was the demand of many of the people who were cheated and looted by IMA, and their demand was that because his sphere of influence was across several states, an agency like CBI can look into it and get to the bottom of it. A request and a demand that the previous government in Karnataka had not, in fact, paid heed to and had thought that the local police is enough to probe. And, there were multiple complications also that came up when SIT was continuing to probe this case. But now looks like the new government here in Karnataka, the BJP-led government, has taken the decision to finally hand over the case to CBI and ensure that more people who could possibly be a part of this net will also be exposed from other states.
Okay, and Pooja, this again is a politically sensitive case, is that not? Because during all our coverage, you've seen a political link in the IMA scam, something that actually allowed the kingpin in the first place to even move out of the country.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, one of the people whose names has come up repeatedly, and many of the investors too have taken his name, was a sitting minister in the previous government, a man who was known to be close to both the then Chief Minister Kumaraswamy as well as the former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. Zamir Ahmed was also questioned by ED for his links with Mansoor Khan, who's the prime accused in the case. So in view of this, many were of the opinion when many of their own ministers and MLAs could possibly have been involved with the prime accused. Will the SIT local police be able to do justice to the case is something many investors had raised questions about. CP now, to ensure that there is a holistic probe into this, it has been handed over to the CBI, because not just is there a case of money laundering and financial misappropriation, but also a certain element of criminality has in fact evolved in this particular case.
Absolutely, Pooja. And let's remember, this is a massive Republic impact because Republic was the first channel to get the details of his hideout in Dubai, to all the details of this Ponzi scam and how the man had managed to run away, to the political links that this man, because of which he had managed to escape. So let's understand that we have been going into the details of this case very, very deeply. And today, this being a massive Republic impact, the case now that has been transferred to the CBI and Pooja, how does it move from here on? Of course, when it comes to the investigation and so many details that we have put out on our channel that also need to be considered while the probe continues.
Absolutely. There will be a handover from the SIT to the CBI in terms of what has been probed so far. The involvement of several real estate agents in Bengaluru will also surface, and so many of them do in fact have very close political links as well, spanning across parties. And all of this will be looked into very closely by the CBI. And we understand that ED too will be closely involved, given the fact that this involves financial misappropriation. So, all of these elements will come together. Of course, the handover will take a little longer. It will be over a week before CBI officials will start looking into the case. But that said, we are already hearing from several investors who are expressing relief and joy that, in fact, that there could be some logical conclusion to this case now.
And when you make that point, Pooja, you know, when this entire scam broke, Suesha, I very clearly remember, what did every investor say, Pooja? They said, hand over the case to the CBI. We want an impartial investigation, but the then Congress and the JDS government did not allow that to happen. I think it's important to reiterate that. And now also, Pooja, there is this tweet that has come in from Siddaramaiah just a little while earlier, in fact, where he goes on to say that the CBI works directly under the Union Home Minister, given how the BJP government has misused the central agency. He says, over the last 5 years, we have reservations. So why is the Congress already panicking, Pooja, if they have nothing to do with the scam?
Absolutely. I think that is the question. What is it that either Siddaramaiah or other Congress leaders have to really hide if the case is being probed by the CBI, which of course is under the central government? What is the important link here that needs to be highlighted? We see Zamir Ahmed, who was in fact summoned by the ED as well for questioning, is somebody who is extremely close to Siddaramaiah, and also the names of several other Muslim leaders from the Shivaji Nagar area of Bengaluru have surfaced, and there is a possibility of ED calling more of them for further questioning. And, also many investors do believe that some of these real estate, agents and bigwigs in the city who in fact nudge all of these people to invest in IMA are also the funders of many of these MLAs, and that is a big, big concern as far as Congress and even JDS is concerned. And that is very evident and visible in the kind of reactions that are coming in, just minutes after the announcement of the probe being handed over to the CBI was made.
Absolutely, Pooja, and this indeed is a very, very important day when it comes to such a massive development in this very case, because remember, this is a man, Mansoor Khan, who enjoyed political links. He had escaped to Dubai, and not just this, how he was functioning out of Dubai as well. Late night meetings that were happening, the kind of people he was meeting, and what he was planning next.
And he was sending messages. He was sending messages from there.
Yes, absolutely. So all that was happening, and yes, he has been functioning out of Dubai. His business has been carrying on, and what they are planning next. And let's also remind our viewers of those voices that Republic had got on our channel, the victims that we spoke to, of how they had been duped of their money, innocent Muslims, and so many of them whose hard-earned money had been taken by this man Mansoor Khan. And this indeed is a big day and a big development when it comes to this case, because now the case has been handed over to the CBI, and now all those who have suffered on this account expect that the case will now move faster, the investigation will be watertight, and most importantly, they will be now able to reach out to this man and get him back to the country to face the law. Isn't it, Pooja?
Absolutely. And also another important point is some of the investors, of course, not willing to see this on camera, did confide that there is a shadow of doubt about the involvement of several IPS officers in Bengaluru. If that is to be the case, Suesha, the question then is, will the SIT, of course, consisting of police officers from Bengaluru, be able to probe impartially? That is a question that was plaguing many of these investors who were worried that because of the power games and involvement of some of their own, there could be not enough done to ensure that this reaches a conclusion at the earliest. That is the reason why they were asking for an impartial agency, a neutral agency like CBI to look into it, because when we are looking at possible involvement of local IPS officers and also local politicians who yield a lot of influence in the region, there could very well have been some sort of tampering of evidence and also influencing of the witnesses. So in view of that, many of these families were also protesting, demanding a CBI inquiry. Today, finally, that has happened, and many of them are already expressing joy.
All right, the story obviously big, the story also important, Suesha, because this again tells you the dichotomy today. The Congress and the JDS combined was ruling the state of Karnataka, Pooja, when this entire scam surfaced. The story is also serious because apparently there were political links. Now, what happens in the next few days to next few months will be very, very important, because the moment you will see names coming out, Pooja, like always, the Congress party will be ready, Suesha, with an excuse where they say this is a witch hunt, this is a political vendetta, Pooja. But how serious and what is the magnitude of this entire scam that we are talking about?
Well, thousands of investors who had invested their life earnings, some of them had in fact planned for their post-retirement. Some of them hoping that the savings that they had built up over years for the children's wedding, education, all of that invested in this particular company called IMA was looted by its founder Mansoor Khan and also several others from the board who are currently under arrest. And none of them had any real answers because, those politicians, those, public figures in Bengaluru who had in fact vouched for this company then started backtracking and claiming to have no knowledge of the Ponzi scheme that he was running. They call this as a halal Ponzi scheme. He promised that they will get returns for their money. And for the first few months, many of these people were getting the kind of, exorbitant interest that were promised, the returns that were promised to them. But suddenly, far from getting the interest, they were not even getting back the principal money that they had invested, which was ranging from a few thousands to tens of lakhs, and in some cases, even crores of rupees. And then under the very nose of the government that had endorsed this man in full public view, this man was allowed to flee to Dubai, from where he even had the audacity of releasing a video, in fact, almost mocking those investors who were waiting for him to come to Bengaluru and face music. And unfortunately, he did so on his own terms. He came when he wanted and surrendered to the police.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Pooja, and we'll continue to keep a very close eye on all the developments coming in on this big story. But for the moment, thank you for joining us. And yes, we shift our focus back to the top court,